Have you ever noticed how Tony Stark doesn't build suits? He builds solutions to nightmares. Because for most heroes, the worst case scenario is a bad guy with a doomsday device. For Tony, the worst case scenario is his friends. Thor goes rogue, Tony's got a suit for that. Hulk loses control, suit. Mutant hunting death machines using his own tech, you guessed it, suit. And when the universe itself starts acting up, yeah, Tony doesn't pray. Tony engineers a fist and asks God to catch it. So today, guys, we're doing it. In my opinion, the 10 strongest Iron Man armors in Marvel Comics. Not the prettiest, not the most iconic. The ones that make you stare at the page and go, Tony, what is wrong with you? And fair warning, by the time we hit number 1, it's not even Iron Man anymore. It's Tony looking at reality going, I can optimize that. Alright, let's get to it. At number 10, Hulkbuster armor. Picture this, it's the mid-90s and Tony watching the Hulk do Hulk things, meaning physics is optional, buildings are suggestions, and your dental plan is now good luck. So Tony does what Tony does. He doesn't run, he doesn't hide. He builds a suit whose entire job description is get punched by the Green God and keep standing. Back in 1994, when the Hulkbuster concept really gets cemented into the mythology, it's not about elegance, it's not about speed, it's about mass, raw, stubborn, industrial strength, nope. And here's the scary part. Tony isn't building the Hulkbuster because he wants to fight Bruce. He's building it because he knows one day he might have to. And that's the theme of this whole list. Tony Stark doesn't prepare for villains, he prepares for tragedy. Number 9. Mysterium Armour, Model 72. Fast forward to the modern era, and Tony gets his hands on Mysterium, one of the rare Marvel materials that instantly makes writers go, okay, how broken do we want this to be? Because Mysterium isn't just strong, it's the kind of metal that makes adamantium look like it picked the wrong neighborhood. So Tony forges Model 72, the Mysterium armor, and the vibe is immediate. This isn't a shiny new suit. This is Tony just found a cheat code. You get the feeling that Tony isn't upgrading a costume, he's upgrading the rules. Physical hits, shrugged off. Energy blasts, eat 'em. And when something shows up thinking it's an apex predator, Tony's standing there like, yeah, I'm wearing the answer to your whole species. And the wild part is the suit doesn't need to be massive or feel unstoppable. It is the opposite, it's efficient. Like Tony looked at super weapons and said, let's make one I can wear to brunch. Number 8. Endo-Sym Armour, the living armor. Okay, now we get the suit that feels like Tony Stark took one look at a symbiote and went, what if I did that, but with better software and fewer teeth? The Endo-Sym Armour shows up during the era where Tony is, let's say, not his most heroic. And the suit matches that energy perfectly, because his armor isn't just plating. It's semi-liquid smart metal, built on symbiote DNA concepts, and it moves like it's alive. Because in a way, it kind of is. Tony thinks weapon, and it becomes a weapon. He needs bulk, it grows. He needs speed, it slims down. He needs to hit harder, it redistributes mass like rearranging its own bones. And the psionic style connection means it reacts almost instantly, like the suit is an extension of Tony's nervous system. This is the armor that makes you realize Tony doesn't just want protection, he wants no delay between thought and domination. Number 7. Bleeding Edge, Nanotech Terror in a Can. Now we're talking about the suit that basically redefined Iron Man for a whole generation. The Bleeding Edge era is when Tony stops treating the armor like it's something he puts on and starts treating it like something he is. This is the nanotech suit housed in Tony's body, stored, deployed, rebuilt on command. Meaning if Tony gets ambushed, there's no suit up time. There's just Iron Man happens. Weapons, tools, shield, it can morph into whatever he needs mid-fight. Damage, it can regenerate. And the versatility is insane, because it's not limited to fixed mechanisms, it's limited by Tony's imagination. And that's where things go off the rails. Because Tony's imagination is not a friendly place. It's a lab full of anxiety, caffeine, and contingency plans. There's even that iconic vibe of Tony basically telling Reed Richards, this isn't an upgrade, this is what comes next. And when Tony says that, you believe him, because the bleeding edge isn't a suit, it's a warning label. Number 6. Sentinel Buster, Model 73. Alright, this is one of those, Tony is mad at the whole world suits. The Sentinel Buster is built for one job: destroy Stark's Sentinels, or the Orcus machines, the mutant hunting nightmare built from stolen Stark tech. So Tony responds in the only way he knows how. He builds an armor so big that other giant armors look like action figures. And what's it made of? A Mysterium based alloy, meaning it's not just huge, it's ridiculously durable. This is Iron Man going full monster movie logic. If the threat is a skyscraper with murder programming, then I'm pulling up as a bigger skyscraper throwing hands. And when you see it in action, the message is clear. Tony isn't trying to win a fight, he's trying to end the concept of the enemy. Just raw industrialized revenge. Number 5. Iron Destroyer Armor, Fear itself. Now we get into the suits that don't just borrow tech, they borrow myth. During Fear itself, the Marvel Universe is getting cracked open by a divine level chaos, and Tony knows something brutal. His usual armory isn't enough. So he goes to Asgard, to Odin's forges, and he merges his cutting edge nanotech with Uru, the same legendary metal tied to gods, and then because this is comics, he gets it blessed. So now you got Tony Stark wearing something that feels like a fusion of science and sorcery. It's not just an Iron Man suit, it's a statement. I will meet gods on their level, and I will bring my own thunder. This is the suit where Tony stops being a guy in armor and starts looking like an armored apocalypse. Number 4. Godbuster Armor, Model 63. Okay, this one is terrifying because of where it comes from. Tony ends up in the Escape, a virtual universe, and in the place, Tony's mind is unshackled, meaning the usual limits, materials, physics, energy constraints, they don't matter. And what does Tony imagine when he's truly free? He imagines the Godbuster, a suit so absurd that it wipes out an entire digital universe with a single blast, just to kill the controlling intelligence running the place. Then Tony drags that idea back into the real world and tries to build it, and when he succeeds, he immediately realizes, yeah, no, this can't exist. So he self-destructs it, because the Godbuster is Tony building a weapon, then having a rare moment of self-awareness to go, if anyone steals this, the planet is cooked. Number 3. Thorbuster Armor, Model 22. This is the suit that tells you everything you need to know about Tony Stark's trust issues. Back in Iron Man Volume 3, Issue 64 from 2003, Tony builds the Thorbuster, a contingency plan for the day Thor becomes the problem. He forges it with Asgardian elements, designs it like a weaponized insult, and rolls up ready to throw hands with a literal god. And it's not just that it can fight Thor, it's that it was built with the cold logic of, I love this guy, and if he ever snaps, I need to be the one who can stop him. That's such a brutal kind of friendship. It's loyalty wrapped in paranoia, and when Thor realizes Tony turned a gift from the gods into a weapon, that's the tragedy. Because Tony can't help it. He doesn't see gifts, he sees variables. At number 2, Godkiller Armor, Mk II, Model 61. Now we're in the Avengers 2018 issue 5 and 6 territory, and things have escalated to cosmic horror with the budget. The Avengers are dealing with the Dark Celestials, a kind of threat where your normal hero stuff is basically useless. These are the beings that make planets feel small. So Tony deploys the Godkiller Mk II, a celestial-sized armor kept on standby near Mars. Let that sink in. Tony Stark has a super weapon parked in space like it's a spare tire. And the armor is so huge, so expensive, so insane that it's basically Tony admitting, yeah, sometimes the only answer is to build a bigger god. There's always a bigger god. It can physically confront a dark celestial, if only for a limited time, but even that is absurd. That is like saying the suit can fist fight an earthquake. This is Tony Stark weaponizing scale itself. At number 1, Cosmic Iron God, Model 70. Alright, number 1, and this is where Iron Man stops being a superhero with armor and becomes something else entirely. The armor base is a Model 70 era, but the moment that matters is Iron Man 2020 issue 14, when Tony gets imbued with the power cosmic. And suddenly, he's not upgrading a suit, he's rewriting reality with a thought. This is the Iron God moment. Tony Stark with Godhood in his hands, looking out at the universe, realizing he can do anything. And when Tony has anything, he does what he always does. He tries to fix it. He tries to make it better. But here's the nightmare. Tony's idea of better is control, optimization, a universe that behaves. That's what makes this form so terrifying. Because with cosmic power, Tony Stark isn't just dangerous, he's convincing. He's the kind of God who would look you in the eye and say, I am doing this for your own good. And for a brief moment, he's powerful enough that the universe has to listen. That's why it's number 1. Not because it hits the hardest, though it absolutely does, but because it's Tony Stark at his most extreme. A man who finally gets infinite power and immediately tries to turn infinity into a blueprint. So that's the list. Tony Stark's strongest armors, 10 proof of concepts that Tony's real power isn't the arc reactor. It's the fact that he can't sleep unless he's built a way to punch tomorrow in the face. Now you tell me, which suit did I underrate? And what's the scariest Buster concept Tony hasn't built yet, but absolutely would? Drop it in the comments, and if you want a part 2, deep cuts, weird prototypes, alternative universe monstrosities, guys, you already know I'm down.